So last time we discussed about dictionary, right? So anyone, what are the different rules for a dictionary? So I define something as this. So it will be curly brackets. I will have a key, and there will be a value for this, right? So 3, 9. So few rules that it should be mutable. So dictionaries are mutable. Second, keys should be unique. Then third thing was keys should be immutable, and last, so this is unordered. Okay, so similar to this we have a next data type, and that is set data type. Okay, so it is very much similar to set in mathematics. So all the operations, that is union, intersection, difference, symmetric difference, so we can perform on this particular data structure. Okay, so before going into Python set, let's first discuss these operations. Okay, yes, I guess both of you already worked on databases, I guess, so you must be familiar with this now. So I have one set which contains 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. Okay, now I'm saying y is equals to, let's say, 40, 50, 60, 70 and 80. Okay, now when I say x union y, so this will give me all elements in x plus all element in y, but duplicate elements will be added only once. So I will get answer as 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Okay, in short, all unique elements from both the sets, right?
These are not keywords we have to use?
No, we are just discussing in mathematics terms, not in Python. Okay. So now I'm saying x intersection y. So this will give me all the elements which are common in both of the sets. So I have 40 and 50 common, so my answer will be this one. Okay.
Not a little bit output after setting new file, you can do here.
You haven't saved it to file. So go to file and
but I tried to saving the .py also, but it's not.
Okay, try now. Don't give a name Python, and don't give a name Python 3 also. Just give a set or something like this. And if you have any file with that name, don't give set.py also. Set1, do anything .py. Okay, save now. Okay, now execute. Okay. Alright, so the reason, don't try to save your file with the existing module names. Okay, so reason, whenever you save your file with the names like set, okay, or you with a dictionary, okay, or Python 3, something like this. Okay, so now what is this? So this is ultimately, there is one file named set in Python. Okay, so all the functions which we will be discussing are defined in this file. Now, how it works that whenever you create your own file with the same name, defaultly it will search all this method in this file only. Okay, not in the built-in functions. Okay, so that's why it will throw you an error. Okay. So when I say x intersection y, this will give me common elements between both the sets. So next thing we have is x difference y. Okay. So when I say x difference y, what is that? So This will show me all elements in X which are not present in Y. Okay, so my answer will be all elements in X which are not in Y. What will be the answer? 10, 20 and 30. Okay. Now keep in mind whenever I take a union, that is X union Y, and if I take Y union X also, answer will be same, because ultimately I am getting all the elements non-union. Same with intersection. When I say X intersection Y, or if I say Y intersection X, the common elements between both the sets will be exactly same. But in terms of difference, when I say X difference Y, and now if I say Y difference X, so now this will give me all elements in Y which are not in X. So the answer will be, so if I say 40, 50, 40, 50 already present in X. So all elements in Y which are not in X. So answer will be 60, 70 and 80. Okay. We have something called symmetric difference. So when I say X symmetric difference Y, it will give me all elements in X and Y except common elements. Okay, so I'll get 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50 common elements. So it will ignore it, and this will give me 60, 70 and 80. Okay. Two small concepts. Let's say I have another set Z which contains only 10 and 20. Okay. Now, as all elements in this set Z are already present in this set X, that is the reason I can say Z is subset of X. Why? Because all elements of Z are already present in X. Okay. On the other hand, I can say X is superset of Z. Okay, clear all this operation? So we first discuss union, that will give me all elements in X and Y except duplicates one. Intersection, I'll get only common elements. When I say X difference Y, this will give me all elements in X which are not in Y. When I say Y difference X, all elements in Y which are not in X. When I say symmetric difference, all elements in X and Y except common elements. Right? So I have concept of subset and a superset. So if all elements of Z are already present in X, then I can say Z is a subset of X, or I can say X is a superset of Z. Okay. Now let's come back to Python. How to define a set in Python? Again, you will be using curly brackets and you will specify the values. Okay. So let's define two sets. Let's call it as S1 and let's call it as S2.
So the difference in dictionary and set means dictionary we use keys and numbers, right?
Exactly.
And
So
here only
we are exactly. So this is not values actually. How internally set is implemented, that is, so ultimately this is a dictionary. Okay. You whatever elements you are adding to the set are actually keys, and the value it will store as none. Okay. So likewise, it will be stored internally. So it is ultimately a dictionary. So elements which you are specifying are actually the keys, and for a value, none is stored. Okay. Now that is the reason all the rules which are applicable for your keys of a dictionary are also applicable for your set. Okay. So we have seen in case of a dictionary, your keys should be unique, right? So that is the reason all elements in your set should be unique. Okay. So we have one rule that all elements of data type of keys should be immutable, right? So I cannot say a list as a key. It should be a integer or a string, or it should be a tuple. So same way, the data type for, okay. So that is the reason I can only store immutable elements to the set. So I can store integers, I can store floating point numbers, I can store strings, and I can store tuple also. Okay, but not list, not a dictionary. Okay, next, sets are mutable, which means I can add, update, and delete the elements. Okay, and again, sets are unordered. Okay, that's why there will be no indexing and slicing. Okay, sure. So this is one set. If I try first, let's start with adding some duplicate values. Okay, so now if I print ds1, it will simply ignore the duplicate values, and you can see the order is not seen. Okay, so it will be in a random order. Okay, so that is the reason I cannot use indexing and the slicing. Okay, the main reason of using set is to take the advantage of union, intersection, update, all these functions. Okay, so you will never use a set as a data type to store the values. Okay, you will be always use this set to simplify the computations. We have this inbuilt methods, so just use, so you will have a list, convert it to the set, perform the union, intersection, update operation based on the use case, convert it back to the list to store the values. Okay, so that is the reason I cannot store duplicate values inside the set. Okay, so let's start with add, update, and delete operations. So first, add. If you want to add any element to the set, all I need to do is I have a method s.add. So make sure you are adding an element which does not already exist. Okay, so now this will add 80 to the set. Okay, now let's start with our union intersection operations. Okay, so this will come under your update operation.
You can't do value.
No, inside no. Okay. So we have those functions for your list, but for a set we have only this. So we can perform the union of intersection operation. Exactly. So if you see dictionaries and the set, so these are very much popular for fast okay. So as compared to list or as compared to your tuple, dictionaries and a set are considered to be faster in while your memory execution. Reason, Python internally uses hashing for it. Okay, so it will take all these elements one by one. Okay, and it will apply this hash algorithm on this. Okay. Now this algorithm will give that one answer that is a key, and it will store your element on the basis of this key. Okay. So the memory location is decided on the output of this hash function. Now this hash function is completely abstract for an end user. You don't know how this is implemented. Okay. So that's why it is storing in a different memory location. But as this is hashing, whenever you try to retrieve the elements, it will be faster. Okay. When it's a sequential, it is a bit slow, but when it's used stored using your hash function, the retrieval time is fast.
This is entire retrieval process in the Python is
No, so the retrieval process for dictionaries and a set is using hashing. Yeah, yeah. So unordered data structures are implemented using your hashing.
Okay, and order using
So orders are sequential. Okay. Sure. So let's discuss first operation, that is union operation. What I will do, we have so many elements, just making it slow, 30, 40. And let's start with atom 30. Okay, sorry. So if I say print s1 dot union of s2, okay. So what this will do, it will perform the union operation on set 1 and set 2, and it will give me the result bar. Okay, so all elements in set s1 and s2 will be given, but the duplicate elements will be added only once, as is the property of a set that I cannot store the duplicate elements. Okay, I'm adding one more method. Just tell me what is the difference in this and this. Okay, I'm saying s1 dot update s2, and here I'm saying print s1. Okay, so output is similar.
In first statement,
Mhm.
it won't change the S1
Exactly,
set.
exactly. If I say print s1 here, and if I say print s1 here, okay, so the value of s1 will remain the same even after doing the union operation. Okay, but here in this method, I am saying s1 dot update. So what this will do, it will take s1, perform union with s2, and update the original set s1. Okay, so that's why if I print the s1 here, and after this, so you can see initially it contains 10, 20, 30, but because of this operation, now it updated this thing, and your s1 is changed to union of answer. Okay, what will happen if I add this particular function to the print directly?
One line is coming here.
Mhm.
One line is coming.
Exactly, that's the question. Why?
Okay.
Right. Okay. Now just read the definition carefully. Update, when I say update a set with union of itself and others. Okay. Alright, it is saying something like this. Now I'm saying s dot union. Okay. So the difference is whenever I use this operation union, It says it will perform the union operation and it will return the result. Okay. Now whenever we use print statement, always if I write a function here, it will always print if this function is returning some value. Okay, so we have seen that s1 dot union is returning the union. Okay, but when we check the definition of s1 dot updateS, it is showing it will just perform the update operation on the set. It will not return anything.
Okay.
Okay, so that is the reason it is giving me none. Okay, now same is the case with your the operations which we have seen for a list also. Whenever we define a list, something like this. Okay, now we have an option. We have a function called l dot sort, right? So this will sort a list for me. So if I just print this l, it will sort this. Oh my bad. Right. So 18. Okay, but same thing if I add the same function inside a print.
So because we died,
Okay, so this is the same thing. Now when I say l dot sort, now this method will not return me anything. It will defaultly sort this list and update the original one. That is the reason whenever I say print statement and a sort, I will get none. Why? Because it's performing the sorting but not returning anything. Okay, clear?
okay.
Sure. So this is your union, and if you want to update the original set with this, then you can use S1 update. Okay. Do we have to set? Next is S1 dot. So next is intersection. So when I say S1 dot intersection S2, it will perform the intersection and it will give me the result back. Okay, again, this is not modifying any set. Okay, so now if I say, so we have a update version of this also. So function name is intersection underscore update. Okay, so again, difference will be same, that the first function is not modifying the original one, but second it will perform the intersection on the first set and the second set, and it will update the first set.
Intersection output will be useful, right?
Yeah. So this is modifying the original one and this is just returning the answer. Next is difference, try difference. What should I write? S1 dot difference. Here the filler. Okay. So it will give me all elements in set S1 which are not in S2. So try the vice versa. Same thing we have here also. It is difference underscore update. Next is symmetric difference. S1 dot symmetric underscore difference is 2. So this will give me all elements in S1 and S2 except common elements. So these are all my update operations also. So we have seen that I am modifying the original set with a different set using this difference update, symmetric difference update, intersection, and this update function. Okay.
You use two operation at a time.
Like
I want This difference also, but in sorted way.
In a sorted way, no, at the same time, because if you see, so these methods are not returning anything,
Yes.
right? So you can try, you cannot do this with update, but you can do with your normal functions. Okay, so we'll discuss sorted one again. Okay, we have that problem to be discussed. Okay. Next is delete methods. So for delete, we have pop, remove, discard, then clear, and this delete operator. So first method is pop method. Okay. Now this method is exactly similar to your pop icon method. Okay. So you do not have any control over this particular method. It will randomly pick one element and it will remove it from the set. Okay. So that is the reason this method should be avoided. Okay. If you want to remove a particular element, then I can say s1 dot remove, and let's say I want to remove 20. Again, this method will not return me anything. Okay, so it will directly update the original set format. Okay, now have a look here. So I have something called discard also. Okay, so for discard also, if I specify something, it says it will remove from the set. Okay, any guess what is the difference between your remove and discard? So remove was also removing 20, updating the original set. Discard is also removing 20 and updating the original set.
We remove permanently.
Alright, so the difference is this. If I specify which is something which does not exist in the set, okay, so discard will simply ignore this thing, that okay, nothing to remove. But if I try the same thing with remove, it will throw me an error. Okay. If I say s1 dot clear, what this will do? Exactly. So it will remove all the elements and this will give me empty set. Okay. And if you want to permanently delete a set, I can just delete of S1. So now after this, if I try to reference, this will throw me an error that S1 is not defined. Okay. So the main use case of your sets. Okay. So you will be having a list. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 10, 20, 30, and 40. Okay. So if you want to convert a list into a set, all you have to do is there is an inbuilt function that is set and say L. Okay. So this will automatically remove all the duplicate elements and you will get this. Okay. Inbuilt there is one more function called sorted. Okay. So whatever you will pass to this function, it will sort this and the output always will be a list for sorted. Okay. So now if I want to sort this, I will say print sorted of s. Okay. So let's try this one then. Now I have two lists, right? So this problem we solved using lists also. So I have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 10, 20, 30, something like this. I have list second is equals to 50, 55, 60, 40, 45, 80. Okay. Output I want single list, okay, which is sorted and which contains only unique elements, no duplicates. Okay, so in short, I want all elements from this and this, no repeating, and finally it should be sorted. So how you will do using existing functions which we have discussed. Try this. How to do this?
At least from the set.
Mhm.
After that, I would have created another string with the set of union of both the sets
Mhm.
and then printed sorted the last
Action. So let's say this is your set 1. S2 is equals to set of
one.
L2, right? Now I need to perform union operation, right? So all I can do directly, I can say S1 dot union S2. Now this will give me all elements from S1 and S2, right? Ultimately I want sorted and I want list, right? So I can directly use a sorted function here. Yes, this will not assign it to anything. This will just print the result, but you can assign it to a list and get the same result. Okay. So now we have discussed the same problem in terms of list, that we need to use one for loop that to check if this present in third list or not, right? So this way your set data structure will help you that whenever you want to work on with such data structures to perform some operations, then you can take advantage of the set data. Okay. So these are the data structures. So we started from string, then we discussed about list, then tuple, then we discussed about dictionaries and sets, right? Okay. So set strings is example of immutable data type. On the other hand, list is mutable tuple, immutable dictionary, mutable set, mutable. So whenever I say a data type is a mutable, it means it should support methods to add, update, and delete. Then string is ordered. List is also ordered. Tuple, ordered. Dictionary, unordered. Set is also unordered. So whenever I say a data type is ordered, which means it should support indexing and slicing. So this will also support indexing, slicing, yes, but this will not support, and same goes for your sets also. So the only way to reach your values is through keys in case of your dictionaries, right? Okay. So we will discuss few inbuilt libraries which will help to perform some mathematical computations. Okay. So first we will start with random library. Okay. Now this is very useful in your data science field. Okay. So import. So first thing you have to write is import random. Okay. Now this random is just another Python file which is built in, and it contains a lot of functions to generate random numbers. Okay. So in order to use any functions from this library, first thing you have to do is import and the library name. Okay. So first function that we will discuss is random function. So now from this particular library, if you want to import any function, if you want to use any function, first thing you will say is the name of the module and dot function name. Okay. So this is the module name and this is the function name. Okay. So what this random will do, so whenever I execute each time, so each time it will give me one random number. Okay. If I try to execute it multiple times, each time this will give me the new random number. Okay. Keep in mind, you can see that the value always will be from 0 to 1. Okay. So we have first function, that is random.random, which will give me a random number always between 0 to 1. Okay. All right. Let's say you have a dice. Okay. Now, when you roll the dice, you cannot predict that what's going to be the outcome, right? So, if you want to implement the same thing, we have a function called choice. Again, to access any function from this library, all I need to say first random dot function name. Okay. So, what this choice function will do? So, I am specifying one list, right? So, from this list, it will pick one element randomly. So if I execute this, I have to pick 1, next time 4, 2 this time, 1, 5, 4. Okay. So for each iteration, it will pick one random element from this list. Let's say you want a random number from a specific range. Okay. So again, the function I need to write, which is from this library, so I'm saying random dot. Function name is rand int. Okay. Now each time I execute this will give me one random number, but this will be from a range between 0 to 10 only. Okay. And it will be an integer random number. So I'm specifying the range 1 to 10. Okay. So what this function will do, the number of time I will execute this, each time it will give me one random number in between 1 to 10. Okay. So I'm writing one more function. Just tell me the difference between this. Okay. So have a look here. So let me reduce this now. So this is rand range, and I'm saying go to 5. And here I have something called rand range. Okay. Just observe the output and tell me the difference. So I executed first time. This gave me 4 and 3. Okay, 3 and 1. 2, 4. Okay, so this give me 5, this give me 2. Okay, 2, 4. Second one is not being 1 and 5. Okay. Okay. 1, 5. Okay. So what is the difference? So in rand end, you will, so this end is not inclusive. Sorry, my mistake. So in this case, this 5 is inclusive, but for the second one, this 5 is not inclusive. Okay, so that's why you can see the first one will give you the output 5, but the second one will never give you this output 5. Okay, so this is the only difference between these two variables, the function that is rand int. So in rand int, the end is inclusive, but in rand range, the end is not inclusive. Okay, again for the rand range, I can specify the increment also. Okay. So now how it will work? It will start from 1, incremented by 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, and 19. Okay. So it will create a range in the back end of this, that is step by 2, and it will be same like a choice function that pick a random element but from this list only. Okay, so the output you will see will be from this one: 17, 5, 5, 13, 19, 7, 39. Okay, last function. So we have seen rand int and rand range, both of them are giving me integer random number of the specific range, right? If I want a floating point random number, I can use this random dot uniform and specify the range 1 to 10. So it will pick a floating point random number from this range 1 to 10. Okay, so this is your random library. First function is random dot random. What this will do?
You tell the random number between 0 to 1.
0 to 1 always. Okay, random dot choice. Exactly. So from this list, it will pick one element. So you need to specify a list, right? So you can remember your example of your dice that from the 6 faces, it should return me one face randomly, right? Then we have this rand int. So I will specify a range, start and the end point, and it will give me one integer random number from that particular range. Okay. Then rand range we have, this is similar to rand int again. Okay. It just in case of rand int, your end is inclusive. In case of rand range, end is not inclusive. Yeah. Uniform, this will give me the floating point random. Okay. So homework for you. So you have to write something. So this should generate me 8-character long password. Okay. So each time if I execute this, it should give me new password. Okay. So from this 8 character, there should be one uppercase letter, one lowercase letter. Okay. Then 5 digits. Okay. And there should be one special character. Okay. So for this you might need this. So this is just a hint that let's say if we have two functions that is called ord. So what this ord will do, if I say print ord of a, okay, so this will give me the ASCII value of small a. If I say z, so all my lowercase numbers are from small a to small z, that is 97 to 122. Similarly, we have the range that if I say a, it starts from 65 to 90. Okay, and another function that if you want to convert a number into a character, we have something called chr. So for this, if I pass 97, this will give me small a. If I say 122, this will give me z. Okay, so this is the problem and this is the hint for this. So try this and this is a homework for you. Okay. So same as this library, we have something called math library. Okay. Now this module contains method related to a mathematics function. Okay. So before going to that, we have a lot of inbuilt function also. So let's say you have a list 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60 and you want to do addition of all the elements. Okay. So you do not have to write a for loop for that. Just write this sum function and pass this on. Okay. Let's say if I want to do sum from this element, that is 30, 40, 50, 60, what should I write? I don't want a sum of all the elements. I want sum from this 30, 40, 50 and 60.
I love two columns.
Okay. So we have this written. If you want the minimum, okay. So that is the reason whenever you try to define a variable name with name sum or with min, it will show in a different color. Okay. So generally try to avoid this name to store your variable also. Okay. Because it's actually an inbuilt function. Okay. Uh, you have a floating point number and you want to round it up. So we have a round function for this. Okay. Again, let's say now you want to round it up to a particular number of decimals. Okay. So now let's discuss. So whenever if you want to do some mathematical computation, don't directly start writing logic. Okay. So just write import math. Okay. And just try to do help of math. Okay. Now this will show all the functions which are related to this. So we have all the mathematical function, that is square root, trigonometric function, that is sine, cos, then radians, then power function, okay, then mod f, okay, then logarithmic functions, so GCD, LCD, sum, f mod, floor, absolute. So all these functions are already defined. Okay, so let's try to discuss some of them. So let's say I have a number that is 10.55. Okay, now if I want a lower bound of this, right, so I can say this number is between integer part, that is 10 and 11, right? So this is my lower bound, this is my upper bound. Okay, so if you want this, so this is same as your floor actually, right? Whenever I perform the floor operation, I'll get the same thing. So for that we have a function that is print. Again, this function is defined in this library, so that's why you will say math dot floor and just specify the number 10.55. Okay, I'll get 10. So this is the lower bound. If I want the upper bound, I can say math dot seek. Uh, what's the function name? See. Alright, give me a second. Print dir of and publish to log sign each time copy and see. Okay, so this will give me the upper bound value. Okay, if you want a square root, math.sqrt of 25, this will give me 5. Okay, so one very useful function model. Okay, so what this function will do, if you specify a decimal number, it will separate out the integer part and it will separate out the decimal part. Okay, so you can accept this values in two numbers, so you can say something like this, that is x comma y is equals to math dot mod f of 10.25, something like this. Okay, so if you just print now x, so first element will be your decimal part. Now you can say by default it's adding so many decimals. If I want to round it up to the 2 decimals, what should I write? Round of x comma 2. Okay, so this mod if it will separate out the integer and the decimal part for me. Okay, so we have this power operator, right? So for the same we have a function also, math dot power. So I want 10 to the power 3. Okay, alright. Then next is trigonometric function. What is the value of sine 0? Sine 0 is 1 or 0? 1. When was the last time you guys studied sine?
Well, first year, maybe first year, second year.
Okay, so Python is saying sine 0 is 0. Okay.
Sine 90 is 1, I guess.
Okay, so sine 90 is 1.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, but still it's showing something else. So who is wrong? You guys are wrong or Python is wrong?
Python is right. We are wrong.
Alright. So this is what happens. So Python is wrong this time. Your sine 90 is 1. Okay. So Python is not actually wrong. You are giving input in a wrong way. Okay. So what this sine function will take? So it will take input in radians. Okay. So whatever input you are giving, you want to give it either. So you are giving it in a degrees, right? But ideally you should give it in a radians. Okay. So thing you need to do is convert this degree to the radian. So for that we have function that is math dot radians. Okay. So now I'm transferring this 90 into radians, and this is what expected input for this sine function. So that's why now if I give radians of sine 90, this will give me answer as sine 30. Okay. So 1 by 2.
These functions are needed. These functions are
Sometimes, but rarely. So the main intention of showing this is whenever you need any mathematical thing, don't start writing your own logic. Okay. If it's Python, first thing you have to check is there any inbuilt function for this. Okay. So we have similarly we have sine, cos, and tan also. And from sine, cos, and tan, if you need, you can calculate all this sec, cosec, and what's cot, I guess. Yeah. Okay, alright. If you want the value of logarithmic, then we have those functions also. So defaultly, whenever if I don't specify the base, it will be log to the log 10 to the base e. Okay, I can specify the base. So now I'm saying log 10 to the base 10. That's why I'm getting answer 1. I can specify base 2 also. So this is a base 2 value of 10. Okay. We have some special functions related to log 10 and log 2, as these are the most widely used logarithmic functions. So all you have to do is log 2 to the base 10, and next is print math dot log 10. Let's say. Okay.
this is log
So,
base 10.
so this log 10 to the base 2. Okay, so this is a base, this is the number.
Okay.
If I do not specify, this is actually to the base e. Okay, we have specific function for base 2 and for base 10. Okay, so this is log 10 to the base 2 and log 1 to the base 10. Okay, so this is your math library. So today we'll stop here. Tomorrow we will start with functions. Okay, so a very important topic. Please don't miss out on this. Okay. So if you forget this math function, that is also fine, but please don't forget this random functions. Okay. So in your AI, in your data science, you will be requiring this methods. Okay, 4 to 5 are there, but okay. So I'll stop here for today.